Okay, good afternoon. Yes, it's afternoon. Good afternoon, traders. How are we all doing today? Hope you can hear me loud and clear. Someone let me know we're all going strong. We're going well. Alright, so welcome to the Trade Setup live stream. It's the 10th of August. So all going well, Thursday the 10th. Market's doing quite well today. Anyone that's new, we'll just go through the usual. Anyone that's new, just see us on the, you can see on the live, you can see on the screen there, top left hand corner is our Twitter page, our Twitter feed, I think you call it, Twitter handle, if you get technical, at trade_setup. Top right hand corner, you can join us at Facebook there, and the bottom right is our YouTube. So if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, anytime we go live, you'll get a notification from YouTube as well as the Trade Setup app. Now, what you can see on screen is just a general advice warning. So we only give general advice. So what we discussed during the live streams, it's not taking into account anyone's situation or what anyone's holding. So we're just giving our opinion of the markets and what we're looking at the time. Paul, how are you, mate? Now, let's get cracking. Interesting things happened the last few days. I kind of love this sort of stuff with North Korea. Now, I find that funny as well as scary some days. It's like an ego, a bit of a match off between egos by the sounds of it, between Trump and, I always forget his name, North Korea. Kim Jong-il, whatever his name is. Quite funny, eh? Still no baby. That's a little bit shy, Paul. Don't worry, he'll come out and screaming. He won't be very shy for very long. Good work, great. Now, yeah, so if anyone's been following this little bit of news, North Korea and Trump, a bit of a face-off. Typical North Korea, just, you know, how do you say, puffing their chest out, you know, getting a bit antsy. Just, I know in the past they've done a lot of this sort of thing, just puff their chest out just to get a bit of concessions on trade or something like that, but they just continue to do the same thing. Sooner or later people are going to get a bit sick of that, you'd expect, and something a bit more serious to happen, whether it's in the way of sanctions or something like that. And it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, because look, it can be scary from the point, I think anyway, a bit scary from the point that it's egos involved, some big egos there as well, so someone can press the wrong button and away we go. But that didn't do much to the market overnight. I think it's a bit of the same as what North Korea's done in the past. The market took it okay. It was a bit negative to start, but I think they got bought up into the close. A bit of bargain hunting jump into the US. In Europe, it didn't so much. They were down quite a bit, on the DAX especially. And I think the FTSE was down, not a lot, but about 40, 45 points, somewhere along those lines. So they were a bit more negative over in Europe. But like I said, the US is still powering along. They're still, you know, solely focused on returns and company reports and things like that. So let me just change videos before we get too far into it. I'll get that. I'll just put the other one up. Here we go. So the US traders over there, yeah, still going strong, still focused well and truly on their economic numbers that are coming through with regards to jobs, strength of jobs growth. And it's probably not bad for trading, I think, over there at the moment, because they're not as strong as what they would need to be for a rate rise, or potentially. I think the Fed Reserve's got on their cards, not quite hitting the mark for another rate rise, maybe by the end of the year, but well and truly growing, only at a slow pace. So that sort of sets companies doing quite well in that respect. So that's what's buoying them. They're focused on that rather than what's happening over between North Korea and Trumpy boy. So yeah, not a lot of reaction to that, apart from in gold as a bit of a safe haven, up $20 overnight on the futures anyway. So that kicked up, which it's been going lockstep with the US dollar's down. That's been easing off and vice versa, but US dollar was sold off a bit last night, and a lot of the other currencies benefited, and gold's probably got a kick from that as well, as a bit of a safe haven trade. A lot of riskier, especially across Europe and in the US. A lot of riskier assets have been sold and a bit more safe haven buying, I think. And there's probably quite a few safe haven investments bought up last night to buoy the market a bit. Things that have been pushed down a bit, as you know, especially in the US, as traders have gone to the more risky side of things. for better returns. Now they probably popped it over across last night and supported the market that way. Just getting into my coffee. What else? Just from overnight, our market's starting to look good. We'll look at the XJO. I'm going to go over a few. I haven't got too much lined up for today. I want to give you a chance just to put up some trades and we can discuss different things. I've got a few that we've got on the cards, and a few that have kicked off quite nicely. Actually, one in particular, IFL's kicked off beautifully. Just after we got a partial on that, it's gapped up and it's just come up with some good results. Bang, off she goes. We've also got, there's another one that's come back quite nicely, Iluka ILU. That's really come back on strong. It's built that high low, had a bit of a pullback from our entry, and then turned around and headed straight back up through where we got in. Looking good. So we'll go over a few of those. We'll start off with, just to run over again what's happening in what's happening on the indices. I've just got to get them up. I've lost them now. Market indices. There we go. So not much to say about the Dow. That's kicking on strong. It had a bit of a backed off from the all-time highs just in the last few sessions, but yesterday still grinded higher a bit. We've got, that is everything. Yep, that's everything. So that's going strong still. No change in that. S&P still looking good. The FTSE's the one that I want to quickly look at to see how that's gone. Yeah, look, we're looking at it. I think it was just the other day we were mentioning this nice support when it started picking up, and that's kicked on quite strong. Yesterday, obviously, because of the argy-bargy between North Korea, that's backed off a bit last night. Had a bit of a decent sell-off there, but still, it's in context of the overall structure. Looking good on that price structure. You can see that's just grinding higher. I do like that daily of this, just these nice pullbacks. So that's a deeper correction. That's your complex correction from through June. Built that high low on a major basis, on a weekly basis anyway at 73, and then it's built it inside high low. Love to see those, and then pop out through that little lower high here at 75. So that's going strong with my book. That looks nice. Got the DAX. DAX a bit of a different story. Still grinding lower. Probably at a complex correction at the moment. Complex meaning lower highs, lower lows, but it's got the weekly structure still higher with a key level somewhere around the 1200. You pick it out, but it's not as easy to pick that. That's not a solid weekly high low just in here at 1200. We're just expecting potentially a bit of reaction around there. If not, that could grind its way lower and that complex correction continue, because it's got really that legs. This is the current leg up. We've had a little pop up, pull back to higher low, pop up only mildly. We sort of consolidated around that zone, and then we started kicking up from there. And on a weekly basis, it's gone strong as it pushed up through those highs just below 11,000, and went into new highs. What was that? Only a few months ago, really. Back in June, touched on new highs and just contracting off those highs, which you would expect. But all in all, the markets across the board, I think, are looking quite good. We'll go to the XJO because that's the important one for us. That's looking more to me. You can see that sort of curving base there. It looks like it's ready to go. To be honest, that's probably a clearer picture there. We've been caught in this. You've had different mindsets probably up until recently, where originally, I'll mark this up. Let me just get it up. We spoke about this a few times. Sorry, I just got to get it right. Where, in hindsight, it could be the key. We were originally looking at, what doesn't it trade? As the markets push down here, so you've got this move down, pop up, lower high, move down. We chopped around here for a while, and then we pushed down to these lows at 56.30. With this move up here, breaking that anchor to the downtrend, for me, that was a case of, all right, potentially we're going to build these high lows, have a bit of a pullback, maybe chop around here, and I was looking for more of this type of price action and then go up to these highs. It didn't play out that way. As you can see, it sort of started chopping around, and this has been quite a tough one just to pick, to try to build your structure, but really, with the benefit of hindsight, it's worked out quite nicely. I mean, nothing's confirmed yet. I'm more inclined to believe we're on an uptrend when we get up through that 58. This could easily be a continuation of those lower highs, but to me, it's just starting to get that look to it where we're grinding higher. We're starting to push higher, and if that's the case, we've built quite a nice little base over the period of a few months now You know, with this chop, we had that pop up. You know, that's a heads up that maybe we're changing direction of coming down to at least going sideways, which we have been. We've been holding these higher lows, you know, after pushing down at around 56, say 70. Even had a little washout just in here, so that's a nice little heads up. And then you've got this sort of contraction. So at the moment, it's looking like it's coming out the top side, which is nice, rather than holding some lower highs and heading south. So to me, that's, I think we're coming to the point where, and you can see the market, the way it's getting in, some of the banks are picked up today. They're actually not looking too bad, so we can just have a squeeze at those. And if we get up through 58, I think it's going to just really, you know, work its way higher with higher highs, higher lows. You'd expect to see that anyway. Because if this is weakness, you'd expect these... Oh, geez, I'm drawing a lot of rubbish on here now. Let's just clean that up a bit. All right. You'd expect maybe it's going to pop up here. You'd expect it somewhere to find a lower high and head south. And this is probably the perfect spot. Except I'm just starting to see this bit of a squeeze to the upside. We've seen, I think Davin mentioned it on Monday, when we look at the oversold, overbought scenarios in the market, the ASX a while ago was a bit, they were positioned long, and that's probably why we've got this pushback and this pullback, and a bit of a squeeze of those long positions on the way down. It wasn't a big difference, as in you probably expect the market to be biased up anyway, but it was around 57% shorts to 60% shorts, built up on the short side. Built up on the long side, so that we got a bit of a squeeze there. Now it's more biased on the short side. Only, you know, pretty much flip side, it's probably about 57% there. So you can see that that's potentially why we're starting to hold some high lows and squeeze those shorts that are built up, and get that as a bit of fuel to move the market higher. But the thing is, like I said, it's generally biased to the upside anyway, so it's probably, you can say that's more neutral to biased. The market's more neutral to biased down. I'm just going to get it in my head. I hope that makes sense, guys. So it could be enough fuel just to start pushing this market higher. So there's a few things adding up that are looking not too bad for the way we look at it anyway. Now, I'm looking on that daily chart. That's looking quite good, actually. Something I just want to quickly do, just to see if this is... yeah. No, you still got, look, that to me is looking quite good. I think we're starting to grind. We may have that little push up to 59.50, bit of a kick up there. I expect it to extend into a major, especially the way we based through here at the moment. I mean, like I said, it's unproven just yet, but it's starting to look all right. I would expect that to extend through this highs into the 6,000, because that's a key level, major resistance level on the ASX. And if that's the case, well, you can only see it in a monthly. Oh no, it's a weekly. You can see that 6,000 target. The way it's done this, it should be enough to, you know, push it on, even straight through 6,000. Again, time will tell. Any questions on what we looked at just there? Let's see, the market's only up 13 at the moment. It was up about nearly 30 before. All right. Now, I'll go through a few of what we just alerted a new one today, was to the ASX. Everyone can see that. I'll get that on a different chart. That's the weekly chart there. Get that on the daily, get that on the 6. So you can see that trend. If you go back to this, it's well and truly up. We're getting this complex correction down. So that's a major, you know, leg up, complex correction. So that's your weekly pullback. And then we started building on the daily basis, just holding these higher lows, looking quite nice. And it's really this what we're concentrating on now. We've broken through the highs at 52 on the ASX. This is the indice. Sorry, what do you call it? The exchange. We've broken through those major highs, and we're still holding higher lows into it. We're holding what we see here as a potential nice, ideal higher low. You can see that contraction lower, and then we started to push up. We've had a bit of a pullback, so you can see it on a minor scale. I'll draw it up, it's probably easier. Or what we generally look at. No, it always does that. All right. So you can see these, you know, supports, high, low, correction here. This leg up. What we've had is 1, 2, 3. Pretty much a retest of this support. Then what we've done from there is just hold these higher lows in here. So if you just, you know, wherever you take your resistance line, probably no need for that really. You can see the market's just pushed up through that 53.25. We may find a spot up here around the 75 mark, 53.75. We might get a bit of reaction, but I'm liking that overall weekly high-low, which is 51.50. We're holding these inside high lows, and we've just broken through a little level at 53.25. So worth a risk considering that the overall trend is up, major trend is up. So it looks like a nice little spot to really push higher. I just notified. Can anyone hear me clearly with the music in the back? It's a bit of a relaxing music. All right. So any questions just on that chart, what we've got there on the ASX? Not much to talk about there. I guess it's looking, for me, I like that. I think they can project up and through this 54.50 high. Maybe it won't get too far. I'm up towards 55, 55.50, even 56. Grind its way higher before it rolls over. But risk reward, that'll be 2 to 3 to 1, 2 or 3 to 1, if it gets up to those zones. So that either way, that's worth the risk. Alrighty. What's next? There's another one I wanted to go over. We didn't send it out as an alert. No, actually, I'll go over this one first. This is IFL. This is one we have got. We'll start off with the weekly, and the reason why we're liking this one, you can see that sort of weekly structure, chop, 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 and then bang. It really gets a move on when it goes, from these nice weekly complex correction down there, holds a low at 5, started to hold some high lows, and then sooner or later just accelerated higher. We've got a very similar price action here. How far we go through this high at 11 is the question now. Whether we, 11.50, 12, where is it going to run out a bit of steam when buyers going to start taking a bit of profit? Yeah, no, Paul, it's true. I mean, there's no reason why we can't grind higher when they actually start rolling over, because I think you've got to remember there's a bit of flow of money too around the world. They can tend to, been in the US for so long, flow out of there. And they could even flow into the Aussie because they see that as undervalued. I mean, who knows? If you see the currency start moving, that could be a case, but that's the bigger funds, some major movements. Whether it does it or not, we don't know. But back to this one on the IFL. So that's looking good. That can keep bang, bang, bang. And they've had some good news. So you look at the daily, it gapped up, but it's gone on with it. So that's very strong, very strong. We took a partial at 9.98, locked in at only a few percent, but it's up now. Where are we? It's up 15% on the second half, so a bit of a bummer. We're on about 3 days before it gapped up, so the proverbial happens, I guess. So that's looking good. We're just got to really sit back, and I don't mind running a tighter one there, but you don't, like I know that's my little problem, is trying to guess when it's overextended. I mean, because markets can just keep going, can catch you out on a really strong move. You get out and you just sit there shaking your head thinking, why did I get out? And that's a little issue for myself personally with my trading. So that's why I'm happy just to raise the risk on this one, just to see it extend, because it will. Look, eventually everything's going to come over. It's going to roll over. There's going to be some profit taking. We've seen some good. It's just where to. And at the moment, we're getting into some new highs through here, through to 11. I mean, it's a long way off, still up to 12. We could just extend into 12. We'll see how we go. That's looking good. What was the other one? Just checking on the time there. So just get ready. I won't talk too much on what we've got and what we've done, but just get ready to put it into some charts there, guys. What was the other one? RAP. RAP, just to let you know, I've actually got some. It's a bit of an opportunistic. I was following this for a while, expecting it to bump up. I put a little bit in here. Personally, I bought a little bit in here. It was starting to look alright. It didn't look. Then it just started holding a lower high, and really it closed off. I think it stopped trading last week. It went into a halt, and they come out yesterday saying that their clinical trial, and this is the way I'm interpreting it anyway, their clinical trial it didn't get the results they achieved, and obviously bang, you can see what happened, down 70% yesterday. But reading into it, it looks pure and simply like somebody stuffed up the testing. Pardon my French, but so what it comes down to now, it looks like they should have tested and then given them treatment, but there's been a whole lot of results that they've given them, they've given them treatment and then tested it. So whatever they did, they've done it the wrong way around on a few of the trials, so it skewed the results and it didn't turn out what they expected. But the thing is now they have to, whether they can spend the more, they've got enough money to go and spend it to do the trial again to get the results, because they're quite positive these results would be good and they'll get exactly what they expect, and then, the product's viable. But the news out yesterday just was a bit savage. It got heavily sold off when it reopened down to about 6. Well, I think it opened at, what did it open there? Open at 7. So it's a bit of an opportunistic buy, just looking for a bit of a close. You don't know what's going to happen from here. I bought some more at 6.5 cents and now we're at 8.5. So far so good. We'll see if we can kick on through 10, 11, 12. We can get up there. Then we'll just see how it goes. I'll just have to trail that up. But that was more of an opportunistic trade. It's not your typical structural trade. That's, Paul, you'd be happy. It's based more on the fundamentals. All right, let's go. Just trying to think of something else. There's a few here that I don't mind. I've been watching. This is Premium. Just remember that they do. It's like a platform provider for funds managements. I guess a lot of people would know Premium. If you don't, that's what they're into. That's their line of business. Provide the platform service for, what do you call them? I always forget their names. Asset allocation. Yeah, like I said, funds management. You put your stocks and your positions on there. People use it just to reporting, all sorts of stuff. So it's a good little platform. And they've been going from strength to strength, I think, doing quite well, getting more and more funds under management onto their systems. So that's looking quite good. The weekly, go to the weekly chart, you can see, okay, that's had these lows way down at 5 cents. It started grinding its way higher, had a bit of a correction here, holding high lows, excuse me, through that sort of around that 25 to 30 mark, and then we get that acceleration up to 52.5 cents. We've got these lower highs which push down, but we're just starting to now, these last few days, well, last few months I guess, is holding another high low. So there's a few things I like. I like to see that the selling pressure down here, you can see with the stochastics it's quite oversold, and you can sort of see the pressure's being quite strong, but the buyers are holding it up. And if you plug it into, just remember that weekly's trending high. We've got this is a major high low, and we're looking for that zone, and we broke out. So we've got our high here, lower high, another lower high, essentially that double bottom, and then the market's pushed up through that high low, the most recent high low, with this extended move up to 45. We've basically coming down, and there's a few little things lining up here where it could easily just start picking up, and I'd like to see this a little high, inside high low. It's probably confused a few people. So these are our two levels. The market's come down into one. Whoop, that's not very clever. It's come down to one. We've got this push up through, and then we're coming back down. What I'd like to see from here is more of this little high low here, and then you've got an inside. Whoop. Then you can at least see what your risk is saying to you. You can buy on a little break up through here with your risk down below. That's inside high low, and then away you go, and you add it to the overall picture. We've got the extension up through the highs, come back and retest the breakout zone. The pressure's been quite solid. The buyers are holding it up, and away we go. See if they can kick on and start attacking the 46 and then all the way up to 53 and above. We'll see how that one goes. Any questions on that structure there? It's pretty clean. Like I said, still a bit of work to do. I mean, this is what I want to see. You can attack it a bit differently, I guess. I like these style of setups. Maybe they don't play out all the time. But there's different style of setups. You just have to work something that works. Well, figure something out that works for you. Just trying to think of a little example. Anyway, it's this style. If you can see that, this move down, pop up, big washout at the lows, this pop up, high low, and you sort of got a breakthrough there with your risk, and off she goes. It turned over on that one, but that's the style what I'm trying to see just here. Alrighty, what was the other one? AMC is one I think Davin was looking at the other day, and I've got an eye on also. You can see it's more looking at that price structure. You can see it's quite clear what's happening there. You've got this, tried to go through the highs up here, 1650, the previous highs. Couldn't push down, washed out this low. Then it sort of chopped around, built the lower high, went down to 14 mark again, tried aim at lows, pulled up short, popped back out, washed out the high, went back down. So it's got a bit choppy through here, and then we started lifting with a high low here, lifting up through that high, or pretty much just scraping through that high at 1650. If you go back to the weekly, that weekly to me looks quite good, quite strong. We've got a complex correction here, some lower highs, lower lows pushing down, and then we got that extension up to new highs. Looks like we got the same thing here. We've even got a bit of a wash out of the previous low, retested that zone, and we're starting to lift up there. So again, on the weekly chart, you can see this selling pressure. It's been quite strong, but it's still falling short of 15, or even anywhere near this 14 mark from looking negative, and that's after taking out the highs. So just looking at it on a daily basis, you can see we're starting to hold. I would think, let me just get, I just want to break it down a bit closer. No worries. PPS is Don. PPS. Yeah, there you go. Thanks, Michael. Bit slow off the mark. Now, what have we got here? Amcor. Right, so we're going, just remembering what the weekly is saying to us. We're potentially at a nice high-low area here, some strong selling, but it's been met with some equally or stronger buying as the buyers soak up the sellers. And we just want to see evidence of them starting to take control. Really, I'd like to see that push up through. We jump around through here between, was it 1580 and about 1520. We might have to still do a bit of work, but if we pop out the top side, we've come down, we've popped up, we've pushed down the test, bit of a washout there, maybe a little minor, and we're heading higher there. So that's that sort of price action. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and up again. If we, to be certain, I would like, maybe we're going to pull back here, pop through, but I'd like to see that break of 1580, and then my typical setup, something like that, where you can see what your risk is. You've got a break, you've got that evidence that the buyers are really starting to take control. Maybe the MAs are crossed back up again, because you want to be on the right side of the MAs too. At the moment, this could just as easily hold below 1580, take out that low, and continue lower. We don't know. The evidence for me is pointing for a bit of a run higher. But you can see even that we haven't really broken out of the contraction lower. We're just showing maybe it's contracting back to the MAs, and bang, we go down again. So that's why I'd like to see more evidence breaking out through the highs, and then get your higher low to work off. And that way you know where your risk is going to be. You're not taking too much of risk, and you're putting, I guess, the wind in your sails with the structure, and just see how it goes. All right. So any questions just on what we spoke about there? Just seeing where we're sitting at the moment. Another one I got, just for a bit of a heads up, can. I'm trying my hardest to hold this, guys. I will see. This is can. It's a bit of a, what do you call it? The cannabis play. Let me just get on. I'll just explain this. Well, let me get a bit more data. So this is one I got into. Oh, where did I get in? I might have got some here, and I got some more here as we started pressing up with a high low. I got a couple of bits. I took some off here around 83. Just as we broke through this high in this candle, I basically got it on the high of that day, close to 83 or so. Then I thought we were going to back off. We smashed through. Is this still a daily? We smashed through, had a big sell-off here, but we started picking up again. So this looking like it's going to target through $1. If we get back down to 80, I'll probably take it off and just watch the rest of it. But I'm trying my best not to pull the trigger and take the second half off. So Davin coaching me on that. All right, but we'll see. For me, that's looking good. If you flick onto the weekly, we've had that little pop up, built this high low on a weekly base, and we're starting to extend. You don't know how hard this is going to start to extend. I mean, look at it from way back in this perspective. You push up, pull back, built a high low, built a high low again, and then you don't know if it's going to do this. You'd expect to say, okay, that's your leg up there. You expect that to extend potentially. That was about $2 right back here, if you can see what I'm talking about. That just kept going on, so you don't know how strong that move up is going to be. with any luck, this kicks up to $1.50 or so before I really get forced out of the market. But I'll see how I'll see how it goes. Two, I'll see if I can hold it. All right. So what do we got? Qantas. So, well, that's not the one. There you go. That's so you see this. If we just go to the weekly, a bit of a rundown. This is Qantas. God, I would love to have got on there. I think I was looking at there. I don't know why. Just it wasn't convincing. And then look at that run up there. That's your weekly run up. So that's beautiful. Davin just mentioned that's the structure I was just talking about. See this 1, 2. I'll draw that up. And that's why, even though market's extended, you've got to, these things can still keep going. And this is, like I said, one thing that I'm working on an area of my trading. This is, extended the market. This is pulled back. You've had this sort of one little pop up, another washout there. It's just getting some people back on the sidelines. Anyone maybe has bought it late, it's getting them back out of the market, potential fuel. What we've done is popped up, pulled back that high low, and then bang. So you know exactly where your risk is. And it's a sort of trade, even though it's extended a bit, if you took that trade here, your initial target's going to be potentially just 590. Now that's just over 1-to-1 on the trade. So your risk to reward, it's still viable. It may be just over 1-to-1, but the potential that's just going to continue on. You've got an inside trade rather than watching it. I mean, there'll be a lot of people buying on the longer term, on a breakthrough 590, and now they're the kind of people that get washed out. You don't want to be sort of joining in that when it's making new highs. You'd like to see this inside level where you got confirmation off a higher low, where buyers are stepping into the market, are ready to go and buying it nice and early. You're buying it there. You have got a bit more risk, obviously, but when it works out nicely, I mean, it's a higher probability trade. So when you get these ones, if it pops through here and then it stalls, you might think, okay, we might just be having a wash out of the highs, a flush of the highs. But either way, if that's the case, you've got something up your sleeve. You've got some, room to move on your trade. You can be easily sitting in a nice little profit there. But if it keeps going, you're nice and early. Any of these, if there's some big buyers on the breakout here at the top, they're going to push it up for you. So they're the ones that are going to project this up into new highs for you. And you're not risking that much at all. And so it's a beautiful little setup. And that's the type of style, like I was just talking about, on premium, which I'd ideally like to see. All right. I'm good at talking now, aren't I? So what do we got first? John, we've got NHF. Now I'll see what we can get through. It looks like there's a few popped up here. All right. Nice one, John. Nib. Now, that's quite nice. I mean, obviously, this is... I'm wondering if this is one Dev and I were talking about. You can see with this, just by having a bit of a glance at it, go back to the daily. Well, this zone through here is on that weekly chart. It's that little zone through 2016, sort of mid to end of 2016. It looked like it was just struggling there. And then you start getting these really minor lower highs, and then bang, started 2017, started this year, bang, straight up, it gapped up, and then it's just kept going. So that was quite a strong move into highs compared to what we saw for most of 2016. All right, so then you've gapped down and you've had a good washout, good flush out, pretty much all the way. It's quite a deep correction. This structure looks nice. For me, I'd want to at least get through this high up here. And then you sort of got that inside continuation trade. You know where your risk is going to be. But if we measure that, it's not quite as good as the Qantas trade we just said, where we said, okay, potentially Qantas is getting a bit extended, but it's a good trade, it's good risk reward. You go to the highs, you've still got quite a bit of room to move. It's maybe 1 to 1.5 to 1 on your trade. This is a little bit different. This is probably not going to be 1 to 1, 0.8 to 1, say. So is that risk worthwhile? In respect, so you really do need to get half decent traders to break into new highs. But this sort of the context of what's happened in the past is not leaving me as confident of what I'd like to be. Especially after this move up, you can see quite a good move. It's chopped sideways, had a bit of extension, went sideways, consolidated, went to new highs. So maybe we're just going to do a bit of this, consolidate through here, maybe around the highs. So you could be sitting here holding this one. Look, the structure doesn't look bad, but in essence, when you've got that many stocks on there, there could be any number of ones that look a lot better. As Dav called it, this could be a B or C grade trade. What would you quote this at, Dav? Anyway, we'll go on to the next one. Hope that makes sense there, John. EVN. Now, there's a few goldies that are starting to look all right. So we've got EVN. Okay, had a good run up here. So you have, when things go near vertical, you expect a bit of heat to come out of the market, and you don't know how long that's going to take, whether that hasn't finished, whether this is going to be a major lower high. We push through $1.60 and continue lower on the weekly basis. Now, you've got to look at, just look at some, put your facts together, or put your evidence together, or better to say. We've had this push down from 260 down to around 215. It's taken quite a bit of effort to get down there, and so really, if it was going to grind high, if it was looking negative, you'd expect it to be pushing down to, you expect that deeper correction. So when you get the market goes to oversold, and the price action actually goes all the way down to some previous lows, or very close to, what we like to see is more of a 1/3 to 2/3 retracement. So a market moves up, 1/3 to 2/3 retracement, and then it starts building that high low somewhere in that zone. So that's showing you that it's still quite a good, especially to the top end. In the first third, you only pull back, say, 30% of that recent move up. It's showing you there's more strength. Buyers are strong, more positivity around it. When you get that deeper correction, it's showing that potentially there's more profit taking. So you could get caught when it builds a lower high. You might buy it in here, it builds a lower high, and then rolls over, and you get stopped out. But in this one, you can see that it's actually had a good pullback. There's been a bit of pressure. By using this stochastic, it's more of a pressure gauge than anything else. And it hasn't had a decent pullback even, so I guess you take it as this move off the lows, $1.60. It's tried to go. It's not getting through the highs that much. It's had a decent enough correction, but it hasn't really got too low in price. So I'd like to see this do a bit more work for me if I was looking to buy it. It's holding ever so slightly higher lows, but again, it hasn't popped out the highs too significantly. So I would want to see it rise, have a good high low, not much of a pullback. So that's just showing me more evidence that buyers are starting to jump in. All right, hope this makes sense there, John. If it doesn't, Qantas, yeah, the short squeeze on Qantas, there you go. B has promised, there you go. Davin's judged it. Let me just see. I'm hoping I'm still coming through. No, that's all good. All right, now let's get on to what else we got. We've gone through people, so we've gone those. I've got to get to, was it New Farm? What do I buy? Got on New Farm 2nd of August, 878.96. Just looking at what you got 2nd of August. Okay, so you just bought off at lows there. That's your weekly anyway. For me, Paul, that's probably looking like, I'm just quickly having a guess at that one. You can see this price action, it's definitely heading higher on NUF. Looking good. This is a weekly chart, I think, isn't it? Weekly, yep. The market had spent quite a bit of time, a few years through here actually, holding these lows, and then started working its way higher. Big pullback, started 2017. We touched down this level quite a few times, support at 650. Then we started holding those higher lows, working its way higher, higher low, higher low. This is the first really significant pullback we've had, and we've just crossed over the MAs. So this could be the start of a nice complex correction, which a bit something like through the end of 15 to start of 2016, that little move through there. So if it is the low, that's perfect. It's great timing. Off a nice sort of just above a key support, or minor support, sorry, at around that 825 mark. You'd want to see it do a bit of work yet. I mean, for me to buy this, I just want to see it pop up. If we can build an inside, I just want to mark something up for you just to so it's a bit clearer what I'm talking about. It's done that early sort of a heads up. All right, so you've got this pullback. Just tried to push up, lower high here in comparison to the previous highs. Big sell-off. So that was one leg down, and within that leg, you've got lower highs, lower lows. Bang, bang. Oh, it's harder to pick here, over here, little one here. Bit of a pop up here, a bit of extension lower, pop up, push lower. What we've got just recently is that break of the previous, that sort of minor anchor. Doesn't mean it's a great, buy through the anchor. You still want to see the high low, but it's just done that early move for me. This push up then pull back here is not really, it's still within that anchor, and the anchor's just up at say 890. It has popped up through 890, so what I would be expecting from here is that, so that's your 890 level. I would expect more of maybe a bit of this, and then I'd want to see this, and then on we go. Great, so a bit more work to done. You want to see those MAs more come together, because that's still signifying quite a good downtrend. It's in that overbought territory potentially, not meaning that it can't keep going, just meaning that it's a bit of pressure on the buy side, and it's still been met with some decent selling. Just got through a level, so I think a bit of work to do, and that one's looking good. It's in an ideal spot on the weekly too anyway. I'm just going to, yeah, see on the weekly it's just the opposite, so it's a good zone to be working off anyway. Zip money, I'm going to go through that too, yeah. What else we got? K, how are you doing, K? CTD. Yeah, definitely on the rise there. What's it, corporate travel? Geez, that's just gone. Bang, 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 bang. Up she goes. Little complex correction there, but even this move back down is within these, it's really touched on a little level, minor level. Washed a few people out. It's brought them back in. We've had high lows all the way up. Bit of a chop and change through here, as we've had a bit of a washout. New high, decent pullback through to minor levels, but then it's held another little high low. Oh, that's not very good. Neither is that, is it? Had another high low through 17 mark, which is just here. Look, ideal little entry through here. I'd like that inside. Banging up we go again. Bit more of a complex correction here, but if we take that, just look at the most recent price action to structure a trade. So I don't mind this at all. Yeah, that trend has been quite strong higher. It could just keep on going. You don't want to judge how far they're going to go. It's more, am I going to get a nice little setup? Risk reward. That for me, I'd probably still got these little lower highs. Sorry, lower high here, lower low, another lower low. I'd want to see it pop up and start building an inside high low. All right, so it's sort of push down, push down, push down to here. We're at the moment, we're about here. I would just like to see a bit of confidence, a bit of a pop up, pull back to build that high low, maybe a bit of contraction, then bang, off we go. It's looking good. That's the way I trade. I like to trade off those high lows just for that confirmation that buyers coming in. You can see, where your risk is going to be. BHP. Good work, Paul. We'll go over BHP. Yeah. So where'd you sell, you say? You said at 26.27. Really, this thing could just keep going. I mean, this is one of those. Have you sold it all, Paul, or was that a partial exit, or? In saying that, now I've read it, probably selling soon. So you haven't sold. That's good. What on this one? I mean, if you're long, where are you long from? 22. So you're long somewhere around here. That's a nice little trade. Contraction lower. You picked the lows all right there. Probably a little bit aggressive for me. No, good. You rode that up really nicely for me. I'd just be flying up these high lows. Maybe, as a let's go back to best fit. Up into these highs at 28, you could sell a partial bit because you probably would expect a bit of reaction off there. You don't know. You've got a little minor level at 27, but it seems to have cleared through the others, and we're just heading higher now. But looking at, you might get a bit of reaction just off that 28. Potentially, we don't know what's going to happen. But if you go back to the daily, you can put a stop below. Just put a hard and fast stop if you want, just below these minor levels. It's up to you how you trade it, obviously. But that's what I'll be doing. I'll be trying to open it up still, just let it go. I mean, who's to say it's going to roll over? It could just keep on going and grind straight through those highs, and up we go. But good work. CCP. I'm getting through them all right. Just as a little side, this is what happens when you've got a daughter. She's pulled out some spaghetti and it's everywhere on the ground out there, so got some cleaning to do later. That's what you got to look forward to, Paul. CCP. Now over to the weekly first. You know, that's nice because it's actually holding those highs. It hasn't confirmed just off the weekly. It hasn't confirmed just yet. If you're trading pure and simply off that weekly chart, I'm going to get my head around that. And just looking at the longer term, you've got the weekly here. All right. So have you actually got this, Clement? You just got it on watch at the moment, I'm guessing. So the good thing is what you've had, when I look at that, is that, okay, it's starting to contract lower. You've got to push down, tried to go, it couldn't get through that high, and it started to push through these lows, only mildly. It's never a bad sign when you can push through the lows, but it doesn't go too far. And then you can see what it did. Ideally, that would have been a beautiful little entry just through here. I'm wondering if we ever got that. I've got a feeling we got that. I'm just... Sorry guys, I'm just checking... CCP. Oh, okay, so we took this little entry through here on this move up. Yeah, we only got about 3% out of that. Oh no, we took a partial up 3.5%, somewhere around April. So probably in that pop up, and then I think we got stopped out in the rest. Tried to let it run, but it come back down, so we got about 2.5 to 3% on the second half. So that was where we traded last time, and then I was expecting that just to keep on going, grind its way higher in through those highs. It didn't. It's had another little correction, but what it's done again, you can see it's found a high low at 17. So in essence, that's contracted lower. That's more of a major inside. So once you get through these highs again, I would expect it to be pushing up through those highs. So you've got this move down, held, pushed up, couldn't get up towards the highs. It's contracted lower again. So this is always nice. You don't see these sudden moves down. It's more controlled up, you know, grind lower, up, grind lower, and then it starts building, you know, back up, boom. That I like seeing that. It just means that the selling's there, but it's been soaked up. And before you can get to these, a key level, so at 16, we're starting to show early signs that we're holding that high low at 17. We popped up and through. So I think this could, if we can just draw that up, we've just, you know, we've come down. So come down into that low, push down again, and then boom, we've just gone straight up. So at the moment we're just here. We're roughly like that on this leg. That's a high low. Change colors. Wouldn't mind seeing if we can just sort of, oh, not that as such. I like my high lows like that, and then go. Again, that structure would be ideal. Bit of work. Get a few buys, and then bang. I'd expect that to take out 19, take out this high at 1950, and start attacking 20. Not a lot of movement. That structure's nice because you've got your major high low here, which led to this trade. It couldn't get through the highs. It's had to contract off, but still held the higher low again on a longer term time frame. And we're coming out of that contraction low. We're looking to extend higher. So we're looking for that acceleration high, and the time it's spent doing that as well, contracting lower. You know, a good part of 1, 2, 3, 4 months, 3 or 4 months. And so you'd expect it's going to start seeing a bit of action. It's looking good. On watch, no, good one. Now we've got, this is one. There you go, it's kicked on. This is one, the structure, you look at this weekly chart. This is Zip Money. Very good little company. It's had, you know, to have a 40, just correct me if I'm wrong, Dave, had a $40 million investment or placement at 81 cents from Westpac. They put money into it at 81 cents, which is actually above the market. And that's why you had this little pop-up yesterday. You know, that pop-up, it's just contracted off there, but when that news broke out, and it's still holding these highs, so it's looking really good, and especially after this move down, that was quite controlled. It's moved down. It's put some of these people back on the sidelines. This move up, this contraction low has put some on the sidelines again. And anyone that's probably bought it late but still likes it for whatever reason, likes the idea, likes the fundamentals, potentially could be looking for B fuel to push this up and through those highs. The story's good. What's the code on the ZML? The story's very good. It's got some very big interest, obviously from Westpac. I think it's got CommSec, maybe NAB. I think NAB have got a substantial holder or something. I'm not quite sure. So it's got all the big boys. Look like it's playing in there. Yeah, I think this is a good little one, and it's just starting to lift again today. You can see it's just popped up through 80, and on she goes. ZML, so you'd expect it could really start lifting quite hard and fast. We'll see if it can accelerate through these highs at, say, 95. We did alert this one. I just want to see it contract a bit more. I mean, I'm more conservative than anyone else. Contract a bit and build this, slightly different price structure to get that, and then try to get it on the way up again. But looking good. All right, we've pretty much got through everything there. We've done all right. Anything else you want to have a quick look at? I just want to see where everything is at the moment. Oh, here we go. Like that. Kick on. I want to see, and this could be one of those 10-cent trades we've talked about a few times on RAP. It could just be chopping through 10, and then once it gets 9.6, 7, 8, 9, hits 10, then it goes in halves, and it could start lifting a bit faster. So if you hit it on you bought it at market, for people buying at market, they've got to go half-cent increments after that, which could start spurring it on to new highs. Well, not new highs, but closing this gap anyway. That looks good. Okay, where are the banks situated? Banks, what's that, Westpac? Yep, okay, let's go into that. So Westpac, not too bad. It's more the weeklies that I kind of like. I like this curving up. It's had a deep correction, so we'll just have to wait and see. If it gets through this, it's probably harder to see, but that's not what I wanted. If you can get through this little inside high, just below 33, I think that's going to look quite good, because this has washed quite a few out on what news drove that low. I can't remember what the news was. Change in something anyway. Washed a lot of players out, but it's still holding. That structure is still looking on a weekly basis, looking quite good. The daily, it's lifting. It's just this push through this high low here. I would expect if it was quite strong, it would have held up above that. You can see that gap through. Done a lot of work here, just holding, and that could still look towards those highs at 35. That's not too bad, I don't think. It's a bit of CBA. I think it's got more work to do before it's convincing me that's positive. For me, that's looking like it's pushed up, pushed down. It could be building a lower high here at 85. If it gets through this 77.50, then you'd expect it to attack down to 70. So I want to see on a daily basis, hold some high lows from here and start working its way back up like the others. NAB's a bit of a different story. Doesn't look too bad at all. Again, it's just that level. You see it popped up, had a bit of a pullback down to 30, extended up to 34. It's just washed out that level. So there's nothing to say this has done quite a bit of work through here on a weekly basis, whether it's just holding these lows, it's building a major higher low, and then it's going to work its way back up and through that 34. This looks a bit cleaner on NAB. I don't mind that. ANZ. Not much of an opinion. It's a bit like probably CBA or Westpac to me. It's not as nice. I mean, Westpac did a lot of work through here. CBA the same, a lot of work above 70. Touch, then bang, off she went. So it's looking a bit cleaner, but ANZ, we'll have to see how it goes. But anyway, that's it for the banks. All right, guys, we'll probably call it quits there. Any questions on what we've just discussed? Do you believe what I was saying, or you don't believe it? Anyway, if there's no more questions, like I said, if you've got anything else bar the stocks, if you want to have a quick look at some currencies, feel free to chuck it in the chat. If there's anything else, like just want to go over, we have been having a look at gold lately. What else we got? A bit of oil or anything like that. Just let me know, and I'll get a chart up. Just put it in the chat, and I'll attempt to get a chart up and just go through that, through the technicals, my view on that. But yeah, like I said, thank you for joining me. We'll be back in on Monday. Hope to see you all there, and have a great weekend, guys. Enjoy. Just by the way, if you do just like what you see, just it'd be great if you can leave us a like at the end of the video. Much appreciated. All right, guys. Cheers. Have a great weekend and speak to you soon.